Okay, and welcome everybody to the Kendoo Podcast. I'm Kenneth Grunfelder, and I am joined by my good buddy Dan Catani.
Wow, what an introduction.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great. I'm not good on introductions. So I have my Infinite Sports Radio podcast, which I do with my good friend Ben Upson from Quinnipiac University. But this is kind of like my own podcast where I have various people from my life join me and just talk about sports, talk about life in general, and stuff like that. But we're mostly going to be focusing on sports because I think that's what the vast majority of people want to listen to. Unfortunately, not a lot of sports are going on, but we're going to figure it out. So Dan, how are you today?
You know what? The weather's pretty nice outside. I got a pretty decent tan going on.
Yes.
Feel good, look good. That's all that matters.
That's true. That is true. So obviously with sports, a lot of stuff has been happening in terms of organizations coming back and starting up their seasons again. It looks like the NHL and the NBA will be coming back at some point in late July, so that's good in terms of playoff formats and all that. So again, right into the postseason, which is great. But the one thing that the one sport that I really want to come back, which it doesn't look like at the moment, is baseball. And it seems as though it's coming down to, of course, money, and that is something that players just need to have. And in a time where millions of Americans are out of jobs and losing their jobs and losing their homes, their livelihoods, baseball players just want to continue to get paid the max amount of dollars. And yes, it kind of goes both ways in terms of the owners, they want to obviously they're losing a lot of revenue with the no fans and the shortened season, and players want to get paid their full salaries, which is honestly not the most realistic thing to do, to ask for, but there's got to be some kind of common ground they could come to, and right now it doesn't seem like that. Hopefully they get an agreement, because we want to have a season, we want to be able to watch baseball and have a season, because obviously Dan's a Mets fan, but as a Yankee
Unfortunately.
fan but as a Yankee fan, I want to see the Yankees go out and try to win a championship. And Dan knows better than anybody that I've had my rants over the last 11 years, and it hasn't been fun. And the Mets have made it to the World Series recently. It was kind of a debacle when they got there. But
Matt Harvey was the manager of the Mets at the time.
But the Yankees need to get back to the World Series, and they have the pieces to do it, and they should be able to now. The same 3-4 players are always injured before the season starts: Judge, Gary Sanchez, Giancarlo Stanton. But they got the team to do it, and they just keep falling short every year. But what do you got to say about that, Dan?
Well, I actually might turn things around, because I've been meaning to ask you this, but I always forgot to bring it up, and I'd love to hear your opinion of it.
Oh, gosh.
How do we feel, since this was kind of personal for you, how do we feel about the 2017 Houston Astros?
Well,
as a Yankee fan.
Now, I've kind of voiced this on my show numerous times, but with the Astros, I've kind of come to the conclusion that simply the Yankees just couldn't hit in that series. And regardless of what the Astros did, which they did was wrong, and I'll always hate them, and I've hated them for a long time, even before that. Where it all started was that October night, the 2015 AL
Colby Rasmus.
Yes. My first ever playoff experience was completely tarnished by Colby Rasmus hitting a home run in the second inning and just completely sucking all the energy out of the stadium, and ruined my whole playoff experience, knowing right there that the Yankees would not win the game. And they didn't. They lost 3-0. And the rest is history. But the Yankees in the 2017 ALCS, they couldn't hit. And a lot of that really was just, again, they couldn't hit on the road. Now they did win the series against the Indians, where they had they went to 5 games and they were able to win. They lost game 1 and 2, then they won 3 and 4, and then they won game 5 at Cleveland, and then they just simply couldn't hit at Houston. They lost 2-1 game 1 and game 2, and game 2 was kind of, Gary Sanchez couldn't catch the ball, and Altuve on a single by Correa scores all the way from first base. So there was that, and then they just then they completely destroyed them. Games 3 through 5 at Yankee Stadium, and then they couldn't hit. And yeah, the Astros doesn't take away the fact that the Astros did cheat, and it definitely impacted the World Series. Who knows if the Astros didn't cheat, would the Yankees have made it, and would the Dodgers have won the championship? But we don't know that. So my mindset with it is that the Yankees, regardless of what the Astros did, the Yankees still couldn't hit, and they couldn't hit in this past series against them in the ALCS. So now, if these were high-scoring games, like if they lost like 5-4, 6-5 or something, then you have something to talk about. But the Yankees just flat out could not hit, and it has a lot to do with the fact that their lineups are mostly about guys that hit home runs and are power hitters, and that's not what the Yankees have to be. They got to be more contact. And that's why when they got DJ LeMahieu, and he turned out to be one of the best signings in the offseason, that was a guy that the Yankees really needed in their lineup, because everybody else is just swinging for the fences and not playing small ball. So I'm not really as mad as I think people think I should be about it. I mean, I'm still ticked off about it, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's just more about the Yankees not being able to hit, and them not being able to hit really doesn't have any impact on whether the Astros cheated with the stealing the signs and everything.
How do you think the league is making regarding hitting? Everyone's kind of swinging for the fences more. It's no longer becoming about a contact hitter.
Yeah, because you see
everybody wants to hit bombs.
Yeah, exactly, because you see all the all the strikeout, the strikeout percentages and whatnot are going up, and obviously when you watch the London series that the Yankees and the Red Sox had, when you had scores what was it, 17-12 and 12-8 or whatnot. I mean, you could tell, the balls were definitely compromised in those games.
Even that 2017 World Series, the Dodgers and the Astros, they were going back and forth.
Yeah.
What was that one game? 13-12? The Astros came back and won?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, it's becoming more about, because everybody likes the home run. Everybody's wow, the home run is just amazing.
It's flashy, it gets the crowd going.
Yeah, exactly. And it is. It's a signature. You want to see people hit home runs when you go to baseball games, because, it gets you all excited and stuff. But at the same time, it's you got to get back to just getting on base and, getting clutch hits and not worrying about, I got to tie the game up in one swing when I have, 2 guys on base. Just you work to it. And that's why I was, watching LeMahieu last year, that was a guy that, like I said, the Yankees really, desperately need. And they need to retain this guy, because I'm pretty sure after this year he's a free agent. They need to retain this guy. Because it was only a 2-year deal. They need to retain him, because he's a guy that's not swinging for the fences. He's a guy that's going to play small ball, get on base, single, double, whatever, and not trying to swing for the fences all the time like Stanton or Sanchez or. I mean, I don't think Judge. I think Judge is starting to turn more into a pure hitter, and Judge is a great hitter. He strikes out a lot too.
Yeah.
But sometimes with Judge, it's kind of more of just his strike zone is just is all over the place, because the guy is so big, and sometimes they're calling strikes at his at his knees when he's not the average size of a hitter.
No.
He's more of built as a football player than anything else.
Yeah.
So, but let me ask you. So with the Mets now, what's your current mindset with them? Kind of transition from my depression to yours with your team.
This is a whole nother level now. You're talking, because I feel like there's always optimism going into every season, because we weren't supposed to make the World Series in 2014. Mm-hmm. We were one of the longest shots, and then the next year, we went back to the playoffs. Sure, we lost in the wild card game. It was ugly. Whatever. It happens, but we weren't predicted to be that team.
Right.
And now, since then, we've kind of grown into a team that could be a playoff team.
Right.
But it's we either start poorly and then finish strong like last season, where I think we were one of the best teams from August to the end of the year.
Yeah.
But it was too late. It's like there's not enough consistency within the lineup, and plus, like you said, how the Yankees early on in the season get hit with the injury bug.
Right.
For us, it's like all year for the past 10 to 20 years.
That is true.
And it's kind of, there's only so much you can ask of a group of guys. So, yeah, I can't get that mad at them. I will. It's inevitable. I will yell at them. But, at the end of the day, you can't blame them for everything. You can only ask so much of guys who really aren't supposed to be in the starting lineup as much as they are.
Yeah.
Where they're more just rotational guys to give other guys breaks and kind of fill holes where they need to be filled.
Yeah, because you got guys because honestly, like, the bad kind of outweighs the good on the team that they have right now. Because you got
absolutely.
Guys like McNeil and Alonso who just came really out. Well, Alonso came out of nowhere. McNeil was kind of like he's been there for a couple of years now, but hasn't really last year was kind of like his breakout season too. And Alonso, he came out of nowhere too. Like, nobody expected him to, I think Met fans did kind of expect it.
He had ups, downs.
When you're looking
he was a highly touted prospect, but then everyone was like, "Oh, his defense isn't that good. He could be a liability."
And then he kind of just, and it's kind of weird because now I've been doing I've been doing a franchise, well, not a franchise, whatever it's called. Yes, a franchise.
GM mode.
Yeah, I've been doing that on actually MLB The Show 19 because I don't have 20, and Alonso isn't even anywhere on the Mets roster, which I thought was really weird. I don't know why. I guess the game is just stupid.
Typical MLB, never giving the Mets a shot.
Yeah, but
we're still mad about Utley, by the way.
Yeah, actually, as I went to before I get back to the current Mets thing, I watched the Terry Collins meltdown when Syndergaard threw at Utley.
Classic.
And Terry Collins said things that should not be said in a
maybe
nice
not a work
atmosphere.
Environment, but perhaps this podcast. Kind of think you should beat him.
Yeah, but no, I want to try to keep this PG for the kids out there.
I loved it.
I
it was funny, but at the same time, he stuck up for his guys.
Yeah, he has a point.
Yeah,
they didn't do anything.
As much as Terry Collins had his up and downs.
Yeah,
that said a lot.
I'd rather have Terry Collins than Mickey Callaway.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't figure him out.
Well, you don't have to worry about it anymore because he's gone now. But as with the current Mets team, like I said, the bad outweighs the good, and the Mets really, I think what it came down to last season was they definitely were a better offensive team than they have been in the past, where they really couldn't hit. Except when DeGrom pitches, they just forget how to hit altogether for whatever reason.
DeGrom will throw 8 scoreless.
Yeah.
50 million strikeouts.
Yeah, that man literally.
And we lose 2-1.
That man literally is doing everything he can, and he still ends up losing. He'll throw a one hitter and the Mets will lose 1-0. It's just they don't give this guy run support, and that's happened with the Yankees too, with a couple of pitchers in the past. But DeGrom he's developed into a really solid pitcher and one of the best pitchers in the league, really.
He's a guy who, I think if he asked for a trade or asked to leave the Mets, I wouldn't blame him.
Yeah.
And I would still support him 110%.
Yeah, because
he's a
really
winner. He's a born winner.
Yes,
and
he really hasn't shown you any character issues like Matt Harvey, where he just is, he just shows his frustration out in the open. I think he definitely, without letting anybody know, he's definitely frustrated with the lack of run support that he gets and where this team has kind of been the last couple of years. But he doesn't mean that he's not trying any less. He's going out there and giving him 100%. And won a Cy Young. I think he won back-to-back Cy Youngs. So
ERA's been incredible.
Yeah, the ERA. It's ridiculous what this guy's doing. I still remember his debut was against the Yankees, pitching against Chase Whitley, I think it was.
Who?
Exactly. Yeah. So and he's just ever since then he's been great. I mean that Mets rotation in 2015 when Syndergaard was
the last time everybody was healthy.
Yeah, the last time everybody was healthy and the last time everybody was good. Really, I mean maybe you could say 2016, but I mean that rotation was something special, and they could have won a championship, but stuff had to happen. The bullpen, Daniel Murphy, who whether you like him or not, he kind of did go off before the World Series to kind of get the Mets where they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then the wheels kind of just fell off after that season. But with the current Mets team, though, I think that you got a lot to be excited about. But at the same time, yes, you have to be cautiously optimistic because in years past, it's like, the Mets, hey, this could be the Mets year, and then it just turns into another, 75 and, 87 season.
Like what, was it last year or 2 years ago? We started out 17-2.
That was the first. Yeah, that was.
Was that Callaway's first year?
Yeah, that was Callaway. Yeah, that was Callaway's first season. Yeah, that's the thing. The Mets always start out hot, and then they just fall apart, and then that's the end of it.
They start hot, and it's like ice bucket challenge. I don't get it.
Yeah, pretty much. And then the Yankees, they'll start off slow. They'll be 4-5, and you're like, oh great, they're not winning anything this year, and then all of a sudden they just they take off. And it was kind of actually in 2012 when the Yankees got swept by the Rays and the Mets swept the Braves or something, and everyone's like, oh my God, the Mets are 3-0 and the Yankees are 0-3. The Mets are going all the way this year, and it's just all right, let's calm down a little bit here, okay?
It's been one series, guys.
Yeah, I know. I know. You forget. With football, it's different, but when you look at and we'll get into football in a little bit, but when you look at baseball, it's 162 games and it's a long season, so you could be struggling for the first couple of weeks of the season, and then you could turn it on. Now, granted, every game does matter. You do have to take every game seriously because sometimes you can miss the playoffs by one game, and you could look back at the first series of the year, the first game of the year, and be like, if we could have just won that game, we wouldn't have to worry about this. But, but for the most part, you can kind of get through the first week or two of the season and get your act together, and then you take off. The Yankees, sometimes it takes them a while to get going, and then they start.
Teams go through slumps.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to happen. You're going to have slumps. You could win 10 games in a row, and then before you know it, you lose 6 games in a row. Or sometimes when the Yankees had that mediocre time period between 13 and 16, they win 1, they lose 2, they win 3, they lose 7. It's but it's baseball is a very tough sport to play, and it's a very long season, and who knows what's going to happen this year. It's definitely going to be a shortened season if they do have one. Now, personally, I don't think we're going to have a season. I think we're at the point where they should have agreed on something already. And honestly, they should have been planning something this entire time. And I mean, yes, they did they did have spring training. Spring training was already in progress, and then this whole coronavirus stuff happened. But they should have really been. At least I think they should have been trying to get an agreement together, and see how they could do this rather than waiting all the way up until now to finally start negotiating. Now, maybe I'm missing some information. I have no idea, but that's at least how I see it, because the NBA and the NHL and the NFL, they all everything is.
There's some idea.
Yeah, there's some idea, and the NFL is different because now you have to worry about OTAs and training camp and stuff like that. But I think with the NFL, you're definitely going to have a season, and I think the NHL and the NBA are both coming back, and I mean, you're more into hockey than I am, and I actually did sit down and watch the commissioner's plan for the season to come back. So they have an idea. Baseball right now is just, they're at a crossroads right now. And the other thing is, baseball players, they make the most money out of anybody.
Yeah.
When you look at contracts like Mike Trout and Bryce Harper, which is absolutely ridiculous how these guys are making $375 million to $430 million.
Please buy the Mets. Please buy the Mets.
And then you got Garrett Cole, and the Yankees spend $9 trillion on him. So, it's...
You gotta wonder if it's a money issue.
It is.
Because
it's really what it comes
hockey
down
doesn't make that much money.
to. No.
Yeah, I think the highest paid player I think is Connor McDavid. He's making $12.5 million a year.
Yeah. And then you got guys like Dak Prescott who want $45 million a year. Yeah, so we'll get into Dak too. But look, I'm just hoping baseball comes back because I need something to watch while all this coronavirus stuff is going on, and while all the protests of the police brutality that has been going on lately, and because we need something to kind of like get our mind off of things.
We just need something to cheer us up. I
Yes.
mean, we're getting kicked with Corona. We have the unfortunate events in Minneapolis, and it's just
and now we're all over the country now.
give us a reason to smile.
Exactly.
Come on.
That's what we need. That's what we need. You know, it's because sports is really there. Sports is like the one thing that you have that
It's probably one of the last things that
unifies
can bring
the
people
country.
together.
Yeah, exactly. like during 9/11, you know, we needed sports, and when you had the World Series, and when you had, you know, George Bush, whether you like him or not, throw out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium, that was kind of like the sign that like we're gonna be okay. And right now we don't have that. You know, like even like with the Boston Marathon bombings too. You know, like it or not, for me, the Red Sox won the World Series, and honestly, looking back on it, yes, they did deserve it to win it that year because with all that going on, and you had sports to rely to kind of bring you back and kind of, you know, like ease your emotions and be able to take your mind off of things. And right now we don't have sports. We have nothing. You know, I mean, NASCAR's back. You got Korean baseball, or Taiwan, whatever it is.
They are doing UFC events down in Florida.
Yeah. So, yes, sports are coming back, but we want the big guys coming back now, and we have to wait a little while longer for the NHL and the NBA to come back, and you know the NFL is going to start in the fall, and I don't want to rush the summer away, you know, to get to that point, but you know, baseball is kind of the one that just takes you all the way up to through the summer, and you know, up to when school starts back up for us, and right now we don't have that, so. You know, hoping they come to an agreement. It doesn't look like it. Like I said before, I don't think the season is going to happen as of right now. But again, things can change very quickly. And I know there are definitely players, besides the ones that want to get paid, that really want to play regardless. And they just want to get out there and have a season and try to win a championship and whatnot. So we'll have to see. So now let's go to football. So, what was... I don't think I've seen you since the draft, or any time in between the draft. So what do you think that where do you think the Giants are, our football team that we root for, and you know we've gone together for a couple of games, and you know we make some good, some bad, a little bit of both. But we got to see, we watched the game where Caden Smith caught the game-winning touchdown in overtime over Landon Collins against the Redskins, which was nice. So where do we think the Giants are right now? Do we think that they're going to be better than they were last year, judging off of what they did in the draft, what they did in free agency? Or do we kind of think it's still going to be the same, and obviously new head coach? Do we think we're going to see improvement, or are we kind of going to see the same thing that we've seen the last 3 or 4 years now?
Well, we've seen a lot of changes.
Yes.
Inside on the coaching staff and management. So I mean, I think there's always optimism going into the every season.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we have Daniel Jones, who I'm still gonna hold issues against because I wanted. I don't even. Yeah. No, I didn't want Haskins. I wanted them to wait until this year.
Yeah.
I wanted them to wait because I love Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted Joe Burrow,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, he's gonna be the guy. He shows promise. I think he's gonna learn a lot this offseason. You know, you got him, Barkley. Slayton's looking like a fantastic pickup. Well, draft, really.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think we'll be ready for playoffs.
Yeah.
For at least 2-3 seasons, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
depending on, what kind of direction the coaching staff takes.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think we'll be a better team than last year.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think and even when you look, because one of our weakest positions, I mean obviously yes, the offensive line, but on defense is linebacker.
Yeah.
Like our linebacking core for the last several years has been awful. You know, you go from guys like J.T. Thomas to Alec Ogletree, who I thought was going to be a good trade, but ended up being kind of a disaster.
It's kind of just a captain.
Yeah, exactly. He just had
More of a leader.
Just had the C to his uniform. But now you got guys like from another team that I like to root for is the Green Bay Packers. When you bring in Blake Martinez and Kyle Fackrell, I think those were good signings. Now, Blake Martinez struggles in pass coverage, which is something that I don't like, and I don't think you like either.
No.
But I think compared to what we've had, I think it's a good signing. The one thing that I'm worried about is, one is the secondary. I want the secondary to be. I think the secondary will be better. I think guys, obviously the whole DeAndre Baker stuff. Who knows if he's even going to be playing? You wanted the guy to make the jump in year 2, but it doesn't even look like he's going to be even on the roster. The stuff that's been going on, but nothing's happened yet on his release from the team. But there's a lot of young guys in this secondary, and obviously they got Xavier McKinney. The safety
he seems to be
from Alabama,
showing a lot of promise.
Yeah, to show a lot of promise. And Jabril Peppers, he showed some flashes last year. So I think the secondary can be better, and obviously you bring in James Bradbury. I think the secondary is going to be good. Is he going to be better? The one thing that I really worry about is who's going to be rushing the quarterback. Who's going to get to the quarterback? Because the Giants can definitely stop the run, I think, with Tomlinson and Lawrence and B.J. Hill. But are they going to be able to rush the passer? And they don't really have a guy. Now, they did franchise tag Leonard Williams, which is kind of a stupid trade. And, yes, he does provide some
sort of stability.
Yeah, to the line. But he's not like a J.J. Watt. He's not like a Von Miller or...
like a Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, or Jadeveon Clowney.
Just somebody who knows
Khalil
reliable.
Mack. Yeah.
That could get through that line.
Somebody
and
that
at least
you
put pressure on.
Yeah, that you got to double team. Like, there's nobody on the Giants that, like, scares you in terms of pass rush to get to the quarterback, which is what I'm worried about. But you got to see some guys got to step up. They got guys like Lorenzo Carter, who they drafted 2 years ago, I think. O'Shane Zimenez, who they drafted last year. These guys got to step up and be able to rush the quarterback. Because if we don't rush the quarterback, we're not going to be able to stop anybody. Now, I think the Giants will be able to move the ball better. But are they going to be able to stop anybody? I don't know. Because we played the NFC West this year. We played the AFC North. So we got to play Lamar Jackson. We got to play the Buccaneers. So we got to play Brady. We got to play Russell Wilson and the 49ers, and we got to play Kyler Murray now with DeAndre Hopkins now. And you got to play the Rams now. The Rams are kind of teetering off a little bit, and they might honestly fall apart this year. But they still got a better team than we do, I think. Still a better offense than we do. That's yet to be seen, but...
I think they definitely have a better defense, the Rams.
Yeah, so... Even with the pieces they've lost, they still have a better defense because they have Aaron Donald and...
that's all you need.
Yeah, that's
just
really
Aaron Donald.
Against the Giants' offensive line, which, again, can be better. Definitely could be better this
Absolutely.
year. He's definitely better than every single pass rusher on the Giants. So
I think we have a lot to look forward to with Thomas.
Yeah, exactly.
Kid from Georgia.
Yeah, and I didn't appreciate when Stephen A. Smith said the Giants had the worst day one of the draft, and especially because we drafted a player that we desperately needed, regardless if there was better prospects out there.
I think that was the issue. I'll admit I was personally mad at that, that we didn't grab somebody that was a little higher ranked, but he seems like a good, respectful kid.
Exactly.
That could definitely provide us some much needed help.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, this draft was great because you got McKinney. You drafted 3 offensive linemen, which the other 2 paired, and Lemieux, whatever his last name is, they can kind of develop and be the right tackle, and Lemieux could play guard and possibly center. So you basically have 3/5 of your offensive line.
And you also got to ask how good is Hernandez going to be this year.
That's true. And he's still young too.
I feel like there's a lot of promise with him.
27, exactly. And then obviously you have Zeitler, who you got from the Browns, who is good at right guard.
And so Nate Solder, the god.
Yeah. No, that guy needs to leave.
Because if they get this line addressed, I do not think we have not seen the ceiling potential of Saquon Barkley.
No,
I don't think we have seen anywhere near what Barkley could be.
No, and you see what he does. When he doesn't have an offensive line. Like now, can you imagine what he's like when he does have one? I mean, this is what I've been saying though, is that with the moves that they made in the draft, what you brought up now with Barkley is this team is going to be revolved around Barkley now, and that it's going to be a run-first offense, and Barkley's going to be the focal point. And he's got to stay healthy, too. Now, obviously, last year was kind of a freak injury, whatever, and hopefully he stays healthy this year. I expect big things from him if we're able to, open up holes for him and be able to protect Daniel Jones. And if we're able to do that, Barkley's going to have a huge year. And like I said, we're going to be able to move the ball. And obviously, everybody else has got to stay healthy. Like, Slayton's definitely going to be good next year. But you got guys like Evan Ingram and Sterling Shepard and Golden Tate who need to stay healthy. And if everybody stays healthy and the line can protect Jones and open up holes for Barkley, this offense is going to be good. But I think really it all comes down to the defense. The defense is able to be a lot better than it was last year. Giants could possibly, now it's kind of far-fetched, they could possibly compete for a wild card spot, possibly. But I don't think, I'm with you though. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think the NFC right now is more loaded than I think it's ever been, especially now with Brady coming over to the NFC, which is something that I've said for the last couple of years.
And Gronk.
Yeah, and Gronk. I said the one thing I want is I would love to see the Patriots, the NFL, just take the Patriots out of the AFC and just plop them into the NFC and see what happens. And this is the closest we're going to get to that. Because, yeah, you got Brady and Gronk. And, the last couple of Super Bowls, it's been Brady and Gronk and Edelman. But now Edelman's kind of the odd man out. He's, now with Jarrett Stidham. So, this year is going to be probably one of the best years we've ever watched if we do have a season. But, who knows? I mean, I definitely think we will have a season, but I think in the early part of the season, there's going to be no fans. Which kind of stinks because you have Breeze and Brady playing in week 1. And the fact that if there are no fans in the Superdome week 1 for this kind of a matchup is going to be really, really strange. And, and especially...
It's unsettling.
Yeah, it is. And, Fox is talking about having, like, the virtual fans and whatever, and it's just like...
I know German Soccer League has actually pumped crowd noise into the game.
Yeah, they would have, like, a virtual crowd, and, yeah, they would pump crowd noise, which is... I mean, it gets creative, but it's still kind of weird, but...
I know for other teams, they wanted to fill it, I think, half or a quarter capacity?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
But they bought cardboard cutouts of themselves to put into the empty seats.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to, like, keep the... but people are going to know, like, there's nobody there. Like, but the thing is, though, like, if this stuff continues with the socially distancing and all that, it's going to be kind of, like, weird if you go into, like, Week 16, because I know the Packers play on a Sunday night. It's going to be weird, like, watching a game, like, in Lambeau Field in December, and there's no fans.
When it should be a playoff atmosphere.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think by then we should be okay, but, I mean, who knows? With everything, and now with all the other stuff going on now, I mean, I have no words. I mean, I have no idea. Right now, 2020 just keeps throwing new stuff at us, and we just are like, all right, I guess, whatever, just add it to the list, I guess.
Doesn't it feel like so long ago we were going to World War III?
Yeah, I know, everybody, that was the biggest thing at the time, and
boy, were we wrong.
It's like, that's not gonna happen, and it didn't, and we're just like, see, it wasn't gonna happen, and then this whole coronavirus stuff happened. Well, actually, before that, then you had, like, the whole Kobe Bryant stuff, which is, it's still terrible to this day, and, who knows even after that, like, what was going to happen. And it's been a landslide ever since then. And, I mean, who knows when all this is going to end. I mean, I'm hoping by a year from now when we're doing this again and we're doing maybe, like, the 80th show or something. I'm just throwing a random number out there. And I've made it big time and whatnot. And we're sitting in, like, a mansion. That everything's back to normal. But, I don't know right now. Future's very foggy, very murky. We really have no idea what's gonna happen. and just hoping for the best, because right now it's not good.
Now, speaking of not knowing what's going to happen, let's take a guy like Cam Newton. Where is he going to end up?
It is kind of interesting, because I did see that the Patriots did have some kind of like interest, and like there was kind of a mutual interest between the two, and then nothing went further with that. So, listen, I think the second that somebody gets injured, I think like he's gonna get picked up, and I think a guy like him should get picked up, because listen, yes, he isn't like what he was 4 or 5 years ago. During his MVP season, and obviously, you made fun of him for the
stupid dad.
The stuff he went into the Super Bowl, and how he kind of acts like a baby sometimes. But I think the guy is still a pretty solid quarterback when he's healthy, and I think yes, like in the early part of his career, he obviously did have the tendency for just trying to pick up the first down and getting hit by like literally the entire defensive line of the opposing team. So, and it kind of took a toll on his body, and now you're seeing why he's getting injured. I mean, the same thing with Andrew Luck. That's why Andrew Luck's not playing anymore, because he got beat up. And, like all those videos of him getting sacked and him saying, "Oh, nice hit, buddy," and then...
What a nice guy.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden, it just got to the point where, his O-line just was terrible, and... Well, it was always terrible, and then they finally gave him an O-line, and then he retired. So... it's just kind of the same thing. Cam kind of falls under the same thing, but but the difference is Cam kind of puts himself in harm's way more than Andrew Luck does. Andrew Luck had nothing to do. It's like his own line is so bad. Cam is, getting hit, and and all those hits take a toll on your body, and that's why some of these guys, retire, and especially with like the concussions. Obviously,
guys like Calvin Johnson, Luke Kuechly.
Yeah, like guys are retiring like. In their early 30s, because it just takes a toll on your body, and you just can't do it anymore. But I think Cam's motivated. I want to go out, and honestly, I do want him to go out there, and I want him to go succeed. I don't want to see. If he goes to the Patriots, that would put the Patriots.
I feel like give him a better shot.
Definitely give him a better shot than Jarrett Stidham. Now, who knows? Jarrett Stidham could turn to the next Tom Brady. We have no idea.
Somehow.
Because they still have Belichick.
And it's the Patriots.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, when you look at, like, the schedule for the Patriots, they do have a decent amount of primetime games. And, again, that has a lot to do with the fact that right now, at this very moment, they're still the New England Patriots, and they still have Bill Belichick. So we have no idea what this team is going to look like. Now, I've been thinking about it. I think they're going to be more of a run-first team, because they have a lot of running backs. They literally have a running back committee, with James White, Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead. I think they're going to be more of a running team. And I think they're going to be more... And I think they're still going to have, like, that dink and dunk offense, because they really don't have any weapons.
There's no deep threat on the team.
No. Maybe Philip Dorsett.
He's got wheels, but does he have the size?
No. I mean, I don't know. I mean, and I think they've gotten worse. They did lose a decent amount of pieces on defense. They lost Jamie Collins again. They lost, I think, Danny Shelton, Kyle Van Noy. They lost a lot of these guys. That I don't think the defense is going to be as good as it was the first 8 weeks of the season. Now you could say the competition, but I don't know. I think they're going to struggle this season. I think the Bucs are going to have a better record than the Patriots, as long as Brady still plays at some sort of a competent level. Because listen, if Brady falls off, you can't rip the guy, because he's 43 years old.
And he's probably the greatest of all time.
Yeah. Like, for me, it's gotten to the point where Brady... For me, Brady has nothing left to prove. Like, he's literally done...
He's done everything.
He's literally... Like, what more does this guy have to do? I mean, I think... Yeah, like, right now, I think he is the greatest quarterback of all time. I mean, he's a winner. And listen, the thing that I do like about him is the guy loves to play football. And that's really where his mindset is he just wants to play football. Like, I don't think he cares about the money. I don't think he cares about, like, oh, I gotta, like, prove to everybody that, like, I'm, like, better than everybody else, or stuff like that. He's really, the only person he's proving is to himself. And listen, the guy just, like I said, the guy just loves to play football. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, he can play football as long as he wants. I mean, he's pissing everybody off by still playing because he keeps, you know.
Everybody hates him. He's a winner.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, listen, like, you know, our team, we were fortunate to have a quarterback that his older brother didn't have as much success against Brady, but he was able to beat Brady twice in the Super Bowl, and kind of bothered Brady a little bit, you know, because those 2 Super Bowls that he lost, I think bother him more than I think people realize. Because even when you see that Eli Manning finally joined Twitter,
I did see
that. And everybody loves Eli on Twitter. You know, Brady,
yeah, now they do. You guys hated on him the whole time he was a Giant. He joins Twitter. Oh, everyone loves him.
Yeah, exactly. Because that was the other thing. Like, nobody realized like the personality that Eli actually has.
Yeah, he's not a mute. He's not a mute.
No, he's not a guy that
he laughs.
Yeah, I know you guys see like all like his dopey like expressions on the sideline. You know, when he throws an interception, he kind of just shrugs his shoulders and whatnot. And obviously, you know, the interception where he threw a pick on the first play from scrimmage to DeMarcus Ware in 2013 opening night, which I love to bring up.
Haunting.
Listen, like Eli's got a personality. So, and Brady honestly is scared of him. Is scared of him. Eli is. You can always rely on Eli to beat Brady.
I think there's an immense amount of respect from Tom Brady to Eli Manning.
Oh, there is.
And that should say a lot because
that's the other reason why, like, I have like more respect for Brady is that the guy like is respectful to like all his other competitors, like Peyton, like Breeze, like Rodgers, and Eli and Ben, and all, and you know, and even when they beat Mahomes in the championship game, Brady went into the locker room and talked to Mahomes after the game. So it kind of speaks volumes to, you know, the kind of person Brady is towards his competitors too. Now, yes, there are times where, you know, he's like cursing and screaming on the sidelines and acting like a baby a little bit.
He's just that much of a competitor.
But, you know, the guy wants to win, and I think him being more respectful to his competitors. Now, sometimes he does kind of just run into the dugout, run into the locker room without speaking to anybody when they lose, but he's respectful to all the bigger quarterbacks, and you know, I respect that. So, you know, and I think he's done his time as winning Super Bowl, so he can, you know, spread the wealth to guys like Aaron Rodgers, who needs to win another Super Bowl like now, please.
This is it.
Yeah. I think it's all we got. You want to talk about anything else?
Ooh, you know what? Actually, one more. NFL.
Okay.
Sleeper team for this year.
Okay.
I have mine. Which you got one?
All right. So, my friends.
They don't have to be the best.
Yeah.
They don't have to be the best. Just a team that you think is going to sneak its way to the playoffs. Below the radar team.
Okay. So there's 2 of them that I got in my mind, but I'm going to do the better one, and I say the Broncos. The Broncos, what they did in the draft and trading for Jarrell Casey and getting A.J. Boye to kind of replace Chris Harris. Chris Harris, I think, is still better than A.J. Boye, but I think Boye is going to be serviceable. And then obviously you still have Von Miller and Bradley Chubb's coming back from the torn ACL. So the defense is going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be as good as the 2015 defense, but I think it's going to be
on paper. It's
really good.
It's got a good team.
I think Vic Fangio knows what he's doing. And then on offense, obviously Drew Lock went, I believe, 4-1 last year as the starter when he finally played, and that was they drafted Jerry Jeudy. They signed Melvin Gordon out to pair with Phillip Lindsay, and they drafted the other wide receiver. I can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head, and then obviously you pair that with what they already have, Cortland Sutton and Noah Fant. I think that team's going to be really good, and I think they're going to give Kansas City problems. Now, I think Kansas City's still going to win the division, but I think Kansas City's going to have probably the toughest time in the division this year than they've had in the last couple of years, because now each team in that division is better. I think they'll still kill the Raiders, but I think the Chargers and the Broncos will split with them, and I think the Broncos will definitely make at least the wild card, because now there's 3 wild card teams, because now there's no more second seed getting the bye. So I think the Broncos are going to be that sleeper team.
And then I think I guess their only question mark is, you know, what kind of quarterback is Drew Lock going to be?
Yeah. And I think they have the kind of... Right now, I think he's got more than enough to succeed.
I mean, your general manager's John Elway.
Yeah.
You got some decent learning points.
So I think they're going to be a really good team, and I think they could be either the first or second wild card. So that's my sleeper team. And I mean, you got guys on Fox Sports, Nick Wright, who has them going 3-13, which is completely outrageous. That just shows how much he knows about football. So that's what I think. So what's your sleeper team?
The Buffalo Bills.
And you know what?
I liked what I saw from Kyle Allen.
I would agree with that, yes.
In the playoffs against Houston.
Yeah.
I've seen him play plenty of times because, unfortunately, sometimes I get stuck watching Jet games. I don't know how you guys do it. Sorry.
Yeah.
But just the way he carried that team at the end.
Yeah.
He was... Sure, he made some stupid runs where he got leveled, and he shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, he definitely made a big jump from year 1 to year 2.
But there was one play I saw him roll out, and he fired one on the run.
Yeah.
Right into the end zone for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen that from him before.
Yeah.
He looked like a minor league version of Aaron Rodgers.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think
that could be an overstep, but
I think Patrick Mahomes is the next Aaron Rodgers. But yes, I think with Josh Allen, I think the guy has a great arm, and I think yes.
Is Josh or Kyle?
Josh.
I messed that up.
And we'll cut it out. No, but with Josh Allen, I think he can be good, and I think now that you bring in Diggs, now you actually have like a number 1 wide receiver, and obviously you now have John Brown and Cole Beasley, which honestly, after the Thanksgiving game against Dallas, I want to get a Buffalo Bills Cole Beasley jersey. And then obviously you have Singletary now as the running back. You know,
he shows flashes of promise.
Yeah,
I think he's definitely a good option.
And then Darson Knox at tight end. I think the Bills right now. I think the Bills are the front runner to win the division. I think you still got to give respect to New England, but I think
you even give a little respect to the Jets.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be a lot more competitive, this division, than it's ever been now, because now Brady's not there, so it kind of like brings New England back down to everybody else's level. Now, again, like I said before, they still have Belichick, so you got to give them respect with that. But
like Buffalo finished 10-6 last year, right?
Yes, they did 10-6, yeah. So
nobody really knew about that. The focus was all New England.
Yeah, and then we saw what happened in the playoffs. So yeah, I think the Bills are definitely. I think the Bills right now are the favorite to win that division, and
because they don't have a number 1 defense, but I'd say they're a top 10.
Yes, you could probably say top 5 too. I mean, maybe that might be pushing it a little bit, but I think they're going to be a good team.
They can perform like number 1s, but like I just think they have all the pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, they're going to have...
And that fan base is going to lose it.
Yes. Yeah. And, hey, they might finally win a playoff game this year, because they've made it the last couple of years, and they just, they've collapsed against Houston. They lost 10-3 against the Jaguars, and the Jaguars were actually good. So, yeah, I definitely think they can make some noise in the AFC. Now, are they the best team in the AFC?
No, I don't think I'd say that.
No.
You're still going to have Kansas City,
and the Ravens, and, who knows.
With 2 young quarterbacks who are only getting better, it's scary to think.
Yeah, and then you look at Deshaun Watson. Bill O'Brien's just completely sabotaging this guy's career before our very eyes by trading DeAndre Hopkins, who is one of the top 3 best receivers in the league.
If not number 1.
Yeah, if not number 1. So, I don't know. But, so I think we're just going to wrap it up here. So this is the first show of the Kendoo Podcast. Dan, I thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
We tried to make this a regular thing, so this goes along with my other stuff with Infinite Sports Radio, and I got a couple of other stuff that I planned too, so trying to build the brand. So thank you for listening. Have a good one, and we'll see you next time.